Last year, you ended up showing up in the news all over the place.
Yes.
Where you were actually charged with fraud.
I was.
You were charged with frauding $400,000 in unemployment benefits.
Yes.
What's going on with that case?
Well, the case is still pending, but nothing is really going on with it other than the fact that they've charged me with it. They have no evidence. They have an individual that says that as the former leader of the Aryan Brotherhood, that he just did what I told him to do. But, and they've now given him a deal to testify against me. But it would be ridiculous of me to say that I'm not concerned about it. I am. So it's really a matter of dealing with the evidence that they think they have, which I believe I will be able to do. I have an amazing defense team, Curtis Briggs and the outfit out of the city here, over on Gary Street, Pier 5 law offices. And, they took my case pro bono because they see the politics associated with that. It begged the question where my wife and I are the ones that provided the information that facilitated this investigation because we saw what was happening. And the investigator in that case, the chief investigator in that case, has attempted to turn it around because I'm involved. And he sees the politic associated with that. How that works, at this point, we're unsure. But by way of example, they accused me of laundering money through Live, Learn, and Prosper, its bank account and its website. Well, all this investigator had to do was ask for the bank statements, and he would have seen that that wasn't true. But instead, what he did is he went to the Sacramento Bee and he released this article about how I was laundering money from these so-called homeless people. These weren't homeless people. This was a crew that was working out of Ukiah on behalf of this individual who's now testifying against me. You see, most of them dope fiends. That don't make them bad people, but most of them dope fiends. This crew's been together for years. This fella and his sister were operating it, you see. But the investigator isn't even looking at that. And the irony is that when he was the head of the task force over in Ukiah, he knows all these people, but now he calls them homeless people. They're not homeless people. They knew exactly what they were doing and how they were doing it. And there's not one shred of evidence that ties me to this, not even circumstantial. The only thing he's got going for him right now is this witness. And like I said, that we'll contend with that in court. It's that simple. Meanwhile, I have to live my life. So I have to rehabilitate the LLP because they've made allegations in the press that are absolutely untrue. Now he comes at me and he says, "Can I get your bank statements?" I said, "No, I'm sorry, you can't. You can get them at the time the jury gets them. When they make their determination that what you said in the press was a lie." You see, but unfortunately, not always, but often that's how law enforcement works. They want what they want. I said it earlier, for the reasons that they want it. In this particular case, they want me. The investigator has told witnesses in our case not to get involved. He's discouraged them from cooperating. And he's openly said that he disagreed with Newsom's decision to let me out of prison and that he's going to put me back in prison for the rest of my life. So, is it personal? I don't know. At this point, I don't care. All I know is that in the press releases that he's made not only absurd allegations, but false allegations. So that when we get to the point when we disprove this, either before a jury or it's all dismissed before we even get to a jury, then we're going to have to take issue with that by way of civil litigation, and we will.
Well, yeah, you've only been out for 2 years.
Right.
If that.
Well, if you look at it, I'm not into fraud. That's, I guess, a white-collar crime. I started the business from in prison and continued the business once I got out of prison, and that business continues to this day. And it's difficult. It's been difficult on my wife. They tried to implicate my wife. I think that upsets me more than anything. But unfortunately, we have to deal with this. We have to contend with it, and we will.
Yeah, well, I hope it works out for you. I mean, you
believe it
just
will.
got out.
Yes.
You just got out
Yeah.
after doing, a lot of years.
Yes.
Well, Michael Thompson, I appreciate you, sharing your story. To actually be part of an organization as fearsome as the Aryan Brotherhood, and to actually turn against that organization because of your ideals, and not to turn on it just to get out of jail quickly, but to actually turn because you felt what they were doing was wrong.
Yes.
Really just shows your character.
Thank you.
And I hope whatever case you're going through right now works out, and you can get back to living your life, outside of a cage, which is where we all belong.
Yes.
I don't think people realize, I did a few days in jail here and there for little things, and the shock, that you talked about of someone who's used to moving around the world freely to suddenly being in a small cage.
Yes.
It is, it's something that no one really comprehends unless they actually go through it.
I'm glad you said that, Vlad, because whether you do 1 day or 45 years, it's the same to me.
Yeah.
That 1 day is the same. To put another human being in a cage is inhumane. So, one of the things I'm after here is judicial reform, and I think I have a bully pulpit, if you will, for that, based on those 45 years. I know what it's like to live in a cage, and I can address that. And I think there are more humane ways. I think Europe is leading the way in that, you see, and they're very innovative. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be incarcerated, that there shouldn't be punishment to go along with the crime. I'm saying that the punishment should be humane. And this disproportionate arrest and conviction relative to the minorities, so-called minorities, whether they be blacks or Mexican or whatever they may be, is outrageous. You see, a black man in this state doesn't stand a chance. That's already a strike against him. We talk about that 3 strikes crap. That's already a strike against him. The fact that he's come up in poverty, that's the 2nd strike against him. And then if he unfortunately has to go before an all-white jury, he's done. And I think our prison system shows that, demonstrates that.
Very well said. Very well said. Well, Michael Thompson, appreciate you sharing your story. I wish you all the best. And like I said, I hope the case that we were working on gets dismissed and you're able to recover some money in the civil trial as well.
Thank you, Vlad. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Good to be
Until
with you.
next time.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.